Good afternoon and welcome back to Laurel Park, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon on Today at the Races. I'm Gabby Gaudette, joined by Keith Fustel, and we're less than a week out
Oh, yeah.
from the Kentucky Derby. We've had people scrambling around
Mm-hmm.
all over the state, even
Yeah.
outside of Maryland, of course, within and outside of Maryland, but obviously Stan Selter going up to Fair Hill this morning, getting that footage and
Right.
a nice interview from Graham Motion. We'll get to that shortly here, but wanted to backtrack to yesterday, and we're talking about Preakness weekend too,
Sure.
Triple Crown season, and we saw a pretty special performance yesterday afternoon coming out of the Rodney Jenkins barn. We'll just show you this video spotlight replay here of Shimmering Aspen coming down the stretch in yesterday's 8th race, and I was shocked by this performance. Not only did she break so sharply, but look at this. Look at the
Yeah.
confident ride by Steve Hamilton. She just did this with absolutely everything left in reserve. This was her first time stretching out to 7 furlongs. What do you think of this performance?
Just absolutely just sharp, dazzling, whatever you want to talk about. I mean, she got a little help midnight on O'Connor, who I thought might press her a little bit, took a rating hold leaving the chute, and it kind of left her alone. She just relaxed. And I don't think she needs the lead either. She's positional enough. But the way she did it, no, she moved away with ease around the turn. I said, okay, he's going to chirp to her a little bit, just a little slight nudging with the hands up her stretch, and she drew off to about 10 length advantage in mid-stretch and just coasted home from there. It's pretty much very as close to an easy winner as you can kind of get. I gave it handily. I don't give out easily too much, but that was pretty darn close. And, yeah, she's a pretty special-looking filly right now.
She is. The
No
official
doubt.
margin for her victory was 7 furlongs in 1:23.25 seconds. And Rodney Jenkins, he said, when he first got her, saw her first working, she knew that he was something. He knew that she was something special, and they kind of penciled in the Miss Preakness for her. But
Okay.
after yesterday's performance, they really don't know what they're going to do. They didn't count out the Black-Eyed Susan,
Okay.
but obviously that's a big leap
Yeah, it
going
is.
from 7/8 to a mile and an eighth versus cutting back to 3/4 in the Miss Preakness.
Yeah, and you look at the breeding. We talked about it yesterday. She was our spotlight horse. Aspen Glow was a queen of like Charlestown. She loved it there. She did stretch out and win it a mile and eighth up there. 7/8. I think she ran second here once. I don't know if she won at 7/8 at Laurel, but I think down the line distance should be fine. This soon, I don't know.
We'll see.
All I know is a bad morning line. Whoever does the line here, it was terrible. 7-2. Everything else was pretty spot
Don't
on
be
yesterday.
so hard on
and,
yourself.
And that was a tricky race when I was looking. I said, because she didn't get bet like I thought she would
Yeah.
coming back, and she just got absolutely hammered. The lowest I could have made her was 5-2 on the line, and they just came in.
There were some nice
just
fillies
hammering.
in there,
Yeah.
though. I mean,
Yep.
it was a competitive field. I know in pick 6 or pick 5, whatever I played yesterday, I used a couple different horses. By no means did I have
Right.
confidence in just
Yep.
using maybe 2 horses in there. So I thought you had the right idea, but the betting
Yeah.
public thought otherwise.
Didn't surprise me. She won. The way she did it.
Did
that
surprise
that
you.
surprised me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to some of our happenings that are going on in the near future here. Of course, Sunday brunch just happened today, but Triple Crown is coming up. Again, we're less than a week out from the Kentucky Derby. So we've got $15 for one day up in the Silks Room at Laurel Park, $35 for all 3 days. Of course, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. You can get your tickets at laurelpark.com or call that number at the bottom of the screen. Coming up, actually after next week, we are starting May 11th through the 29th. Live racing Thursday through Sunday at the Preakness meet. Always something to look forward to.
I love it. Close by, close to home for me. We can stumble home, stumble out of Pimlico and stumble home. I love it. Right up Park Heights, the back way home. But no, looking forward to it. I do hanging out little, even after the races, the windows open, hopefully the sunshine. It's always a good time. And like I said, gearing up for the Black-Eyed Susan and the Preakness Stakes.
Don't stumble home on Black-Eyed Susan Day because we got a long day on Preakness Day.
I'll just stay.
Yeah, you'll just stay. Just bring a cot or like an air mattress or something.
Yeah.
But Black-Eyed Susan Day, of course, every year, the Ultimate Girls Day Out Friday, May 19th at Pimlico Racecourse. Tickets are now on sale. Tickets are also now on sale for the Preakness Stakes. They've been on sale, so make sure you go and get those tickets today by calling that number. And for more information, go to preakness.com for more details. And last but certainly not least, we've got the Infield Fest coming up, always a very, very popular event. On Saturday, May 20th, we've got Sam Hunt on the main stage, special guest Zed, and on the DeKuyper stage, we've got Good Charlotte, Low Cash, and High Valley. Sam Hunt, really like him. Obviously, very popular country artist. So looking forward to that. And unfortunately, I don't think I've ever been to the infield fest before. I
You've got,
started working
yeah, you've got
right
enough
out of
pool. I
college.
think you can just kind of mosey on over if you get a
Maybe.
chance in your end of 5 minutes of free time that you get that day.
I'm going to try to meet good
sprint over and
Charlotte.
sprint back.
Right?
I'm
yeah,
sure you can meet good Charlotte.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe get behind stage.
They
or
probably wanna
something
meet
like
you.
that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
You're all from down that same area, right?
Yeah, Waldorf,
close.
Southern Maryland.
You got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Maybe that'll
You got some
let me
stories
pull
to
some
tell.
strings. Exactly. But talking about, obviously, Kentucky Derby news, Stan Salter, our own Stan Salter, went up to Fair Hill this morning to catch the workout of Irish War Cry. He was making his final work in preparations for next week's Kentucky Derby, obviously trained by Graham Motion, and we'll show you that workout this morning. He did go 6 furlongs, the final time in 1:13.20, out in 1:27 flat. Now you can see him walking to the track here with the pony. Graham Motion, I think that might be him
That's
checking
it,
the
yeah,
horse
on the
out
walkie-talkie, yeah.
on the walkie-talkie. And here he is. And I think what Graham was saying from some quotes that I saw was that the two things that he really wanted from this horse, he wanted to go well, but not too fast, and he wanted to rate behind his workmate. He wanted to see if he could do that efficiently, and Rajiv Mirage was aboard. He came down from New York to be aboard for the workout, and he said, quote, he ticked all the boxes today.
Wow, that's great. Now, this is a horse, right? He could take a step. There's no doubt about it. Getting the chance to watch him here, a little bit green early on, and he's getting it right now, it looks like. He put it together last time out, and
Really no urging.
Oh, no, none whatsoever. Breeding, he suggests he should be able to get it. I think if he draws a really nice post position, maybe towards middle, towards the outside, you look at the race, there's not any blistering speed. I know, the guys want to usually go out and set that honest pace, get a horse to relax like that. This horse is learning to relax. He doesn't need to be on a couple lengths off. Look at the recent ones: California Chrome, American Fair, Nyquist. All similar running styles to Irish War Cry.
And funny enough, obviously, Graham Motion sending out Animal Kingdom to win the Kentucky Derby. They look crazy alike. If you look at pictures and you even look at their facial markings there, it's kind of an uncanny resemblance there. But as I said, the official time was 6 furlongs in a minute and 13 and change. And the workmate there was Providence Road. That horse is a maiden, but is a half to Toby's Corner, who obviously won the Wood Memorial for Graham as well. So that was the workmate there. As I said, they checked all the boxes. And my only thing about Irish War Cry was the hiccup in the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
And there's really no reasoning for it, right? Even Graham Motion saying maybe he didn't like the track that day, but he liked it in the Holy Bull. So there was no sound reason as to his poor performance, which makes him a little bit untrustworthy going into the Derby.
Yeah, I mean, I put a line through it, and if he bounces again in the Derby, I'll say, okay, this is one we got to sit down and really rack our brains and try to figure out. But I'll give him a pass on that. Having a chance to watch him here and what he did early, he's talented enough to get the job done. And once again, Animal Kingdom, he owes me no money. And Graham, he's a guy. He doesn't force the issue.
No.
And I got to respect that from him.
Yeah, very, very happy with the work today. And I believe Rajiv Marat definitely very happy with the work today, too. And I loved how the horse rated under Rajiv in the Wood. I thought that was spectacular. You could see a completely different horse in the afternoon underneath of him. So good momentum, good vibes going into the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, it's been a long road back for Rajiv Mirage to get back in the saddle. So it's a very fun story to follow regardless. And I'm one of Graham's biggest fans, so we're all wishing him well.
Hats off to the guys going up and getting that stuff. That's really good to have. Yep,
yes,
good
absolutely.
Stuff.
Thank you, Steve Martin and Stanton Salter.
Absolutely.
For being a solid presence there up at Fair Hill. Now, let's get to today because we've got 10 races. We've got some nice carryovers as well. We had a huge handle yesterday, over $4.4 million. Really good day. We've just continued to see really good days, really since we transitioned over the fall into the turf racing. So excited about that. We'll take a look at some of our carryovers today. Of course, we started off in today's opener with a 7-horse field of babies with that rolling super high 5. That carryover is over $1,300 today in that Rainbow Rainbow 6, we do have a carryover just shy of $5,000. That kicks off in the 5th race on this 10-race program, and we've got that late pick 5. I took a stab at the late pick 5. You took a stab at the early pick 4. I thought the pick 6 was kind of difficult just because you can't really find a single and make it a reasonable price. But don't let my opinion sway you from betting this, because it is a really nice carryover. And I think if you have an opinion about one specific race and you can find a single, it's going to pay really, really nicely. I think there's upset potential so far, or coming up on today's card. Now, looking at today's forecast, got a lot of cloud coverage. It's a lot cooler than yesterday, though. Yesterday we got into the 90s. Today, I don't know, we're probably around the 70s.
Yeah, it feels like mid-70s. Yeah,
mid-70s, and mostly cloudy here today, too. But we are fast and firm on the turf. 10 races on tap with first post time set for 1:10 p.m. So we'll get to today's action, of course, starting it off with that early pick 5 and the super high 5 carryover over $1,300. 4.5 furlongs. Once again, for the babies, we saw the fillies run yesterday. Hugh McMahon sending out a very impressive baby yesterday.
We talked about it. We had a heavy favorite, the McCutcheon horse, off the good race down at Keeneland. And we said, well, can we single? You were right. No, you couldn't. And this horse popped up. Contrarity was his name. Hugh McMahon and Katie Davis got the job done, got the lead early, and really dug in gamely through the stretch, repelled the bit, and kicked back clear. Won the watch down the line. But everybody else behaved pretty well, too, for the most part,
Shape of You,
which was good.
And Shape of You, Jason McCutcheon's filly, she behaved so professionally. But I was talking to Jason prior to the race, and he said they had a ship from Kentucky on Thursday. They got in at like 2:30 a.m., and then she had a ship down here from Pimlico yesterday. So that's a lot to ask of a lightly raced and young filly. So maybe look for her in her next start there. But this is a very good race full of nice pedigrees here. And I think a puzzle, because there's nothing to work from here. So, Keith, you did land on the 5. I Never, though, a first-time starter for Hammy Smith, as did I.
Okay, maybe they wrapped it up last night. Hammy and his brother Gory. Maybe they can come out and get the opener this afternoon. I Ain't Never by Hugo. All of his wins were on turf, but he's by Stormy Atlantic. The bottom side, this horse is has a half assist by Ride the Storm. Another one of those South Carolina stallions Gory has down there. Was 6 for 15, ran in the mid-80s. Also has a winning 2-year-old sibling. I'm playing the percentages here. This is a barn, an outfit I know. They're going to send this horse prepared. A decent work. That 38 breezing down at Ellery, that's a good work over that surface down there. I think this horse is going to be well prepped and ready to go first time out for Hammy and Gory.
He is actually kin to a horse by the name of Prissy Proxy, who was 5 for 9, and that horse was actually a winner at 2 as well. So I like that pedigree there. I like the statistics, but Kingdom Minded, trained by Phil Schoenthal. We get into the season, and Phil Schoenthal, he's a sneaky good trainer with his 2-year-olds.
Yeah, he does a good. We saw yesterday Fly, who won its debut right at 2, came back guns a-blazing in the return try yesterday. But Kingdom Minded, another high percentage trainer. That's kind of the angle I'm playing in today's opener.
And even Mike Catalano sending out a first-time starter 2-year-old yesterday. She made a nice late closing bid to get up for second. Sir Brahms could be one to pay attention to on the bottom side. This colt is out of secretively Mr. Greeley. She was only kind of a low-level claimer and only one winning sibling at 2, but there have been winning siblings that have won at 2. So this is a real puzzle. We're going to be looking for their action, their behavior in the afternoon here as we get to race 1. So kind of a head scratcher as we get to the second race on the card. A nice 3 other than allowance optional claimer. We head out to the Fort Marcy, rail setting at 87 feet, 5.5 furlongs onto the turf. And Daylight Ahead comes back, and boy, was she impressive off the layoff last time out.
She hinted at some talent last summer, had some trouble trips on the grass course, but came back and put it all together. And got away at 15 to 1. I think I had her lined at like 5 or 6 to 1, and she just floated up. I completely missed her at the windows. I'm sick about it. And last time out, she just kind of tracked the pace nicely, went up the inside. You see the comment, eager, drawing away. She could control it in here. I think Giddy Up might be aggressive, but here's the video. Let's go ahead and watch her. That's good, guys. The 3-horse Daylight Ahead prompting the pace of Anna May, our queen. Long shot, another long shot, 10 to 1. But at any point, Heavy and Toledo just very patient. Gets a little assist here. Anna May, our queen, just kind of drifts ever so slightly into the stretch. And he asks, boy, she responds nicely. Eager to the wire, opens up at the 8th pole. Nobody was going to get her. Some cracks to the right whip. That's good enough, guys, and she holds firm late. Like I say, Giddy Up, I think, could be aggressively ridden by
Mm-hmm.
Trevor. Go to the front. She's shown speed in the past, but Daylight Ahead from Warner just off of it. She's going to be tough.
I agree with you. And the way, even, we didn't show the beginning part of the replay, but the way that she broke, she actually was behind a wall. She broke a touch slow,
Yep.
and then she was behind a wall of horses, and she was really rank on the backstretch. Like, I was actually concerned whether or not she was going to find a slight opening, and Jevion Toledo found a slight opening on the rail and then proceeded from there. But she looks like she's got some talent. So in terms of those multi-race bets, Keith, I know you did construct a pick 4 ticket here. What do you do with it? What do you do with this race?
That's good. That's right. We're going to go ahead and single.
single.
We're going to single
Ooh.
Daylight Ahead. I know Enchantress could be the favorite. She's shortening up. Hasn't been out since February. Turf doesn't mind me, the little layoff, and she's run well fresh. But I think Daylight Ahead is really going to be a nice filly, maybe a stakes type of filly moving forward, sprinting on the turf course. Race 3, we've got a spread, Gabby. Going 6 deep in here. I think this is wide open, taking a couple bombs actually in here with the 1 and the 2. I think they're logical users at a price considering the rest of the field. Race 4, trimming down a little bit, Saturday Sunshine or Honor Commitment. And in race 5, 4 deep with the 1, 2, 3, and 7. Another little tricky race. I think Tracy Allen's going to take a lot of play, but we might be able to sneak a price in race 5. $24 investment. Let's hope we get the single home to get it started.
All right. Well, best of luck to your pick 4 ticket. And I really like Daylight Ahead as well. Even depending on what Giddy Up does, because as you said, she's been known to show some speed in the past. I think Daylight Ahead has tactical speed. It doesn't really matter. She just has a lot of talent. I think she's found her niche sprinting on the turf. Now, the 2 Royal Renee, I really like, and she's put together some really nice performances sprinting on the turf. And they've tried her going long. They've tried her on the dirt. But this is the perfect spot for her. This is where she belongs. And she doesn't have to be that far off the pace. And inside post position might hinder her a little bit, but I like her coming off the layoff.
Yeah. The horse just to her inside has a little bit of speed. World Peace, Royal Renee, I think we'll get okay flow, and she's proven once again she can run short off of a layoff and run a big number. She did it last year, 77 behind Moldavite, who I think got away with everything on the front end. So Royal Renee, one of my favorites, mare sprinting on the grass around here. She owes me no money whatsoever. She's been honest as they come. 5 for 5 in the money here with a win in 3 seconds.
And Enchantress here, I just like her longer. I mean, it's simple as that. She doesn't have the same kick that we see at 5.5, even 6 furlongs on the turf. She just kind of maintains an even momentum there. Whereas when she goes 2 turns on the turf, she finds herself a little bit closer to the pace, and that's where I think she's more successful. So that's where I think that she might be vulnerable in here. We get to the 3rd and open $11,000 claiming event going out to the Kelso, rail setting at 35 feet, a mile and an eighth on that turf course, and this is a wide open race. I had a little bit of a tough time here. I think our Emerald Forest is a class of the field, but of course the question is, why is he in for the $11,000 tag off the layoff? You go with a price here. I love it. Young dude.
I think we got to take a shot at a price. You've got horses off a time. You know, Soup to Coop, Diana's Vendetta, proven turf horses. They like to come from back of the pack. They're not completely pace dependent, but this is a mile and an eighth, which may or may not help them first time back. I think Bay Bridge and Young Dude, this could be a lineup race around the racetrack. I expect Bay Bridge to revert back to that 3-back try, the one before the layoff, for 16,000. I think he can carry his speed a long way. And Young Dude, I liked it Tightener last time out on the turf, was hung wide against an okay flow. They see the 3/4 10 2, just a little fizzle late. This horse has tactical speed. I think can track and pounce. You know, the mile and eighth might be a touch too far, but at the price, I'm not going to let the 1 or 2 pass me by in here, especially with a questionable favorite that's dropping off a good races down for 11,000.
Exactly. And Young Dude, unfortunately, he got caught behind Boppin' and a Weavin', who tried to go wire and a wire before he ducked out, but he did come back yesterday in a really questionable performance. He kind of went to the lead and then just kind of faded on the drop-in class. So I don't think that that is a vote of confidence for Young Dude. That said, he's a big price. I really like Bay Bridge in here, and I was debating on just picking him on top because he's dropping from A Other Than Company. He was on the engine really the entire way last time out. You know, and they went pretty quickly, but he's proven himself here. He's got the rail post position today. Maybe he can get the jump on the rest of the field.
Absolutely. I think he can certainly take advantage of that inside post against this field. There's just not much speed in it. Maybe an imaginary road will go ahead and go. We've got the scratch of Mongolian King. Mythos off the was main track only. 2 price horses. Soup to Coop, Diana's Vendetta. They're both honest. If they get up at a mile and an eighth off this first little break, let them beat me.
And
we'll see.
the only thing, Soup to Coop, he's gotten a couple of wins here at Laurel on the turf, but and even though he's been running really, really well in Casey Cartagena's barn, I was surprised the fact that she kind of went in and claimed this horse, because we don't see Casey Cartagena running a tremendous amount of turf horses, right? Especially distance
and routers, right?
Yeah.
Either turf or dirt. Primarily a sprinting barn for the most part, if memory serves me correct. You're right. This horse made a big move up the rail off the layoff at Pimlico last year. Looked like a winner, was run down. But he comes back at 9. This is like the old timers race, like a 9s and a bunch of 9s and 8s in here when you're looking at them. But
it's fun to see.
once again, it's a race you've got to attack with a price. Bowman's Beast reminds me a little bit of Jose Seaview yesterday. He's run some okay numbers on the turf. Probably going to sit an okay trip. Mile and eighth again for me. But he might be, with fitness-wise and everything, really could help his chances today, no doubt, because he's been running of recent.
Jose Seaview just ran off the screen yesterday. That was a pretty impressive claim and performance. So hats off to Bruno Tessori getting his first victory with his first runner here at Laurel Park. We get to the 4th race, a $5,000 conditional claimer, 5.5 furlongs onto the main track. And Saturday Sunshine, we both land on. But going back and revisiting the replay last time out, I don't know. It makes me waver a little bit on this horse because I thought that he should have won. I thought Slew's Love obviously came from farther off the pace. Saturday Sunshine really sat the perfect trip and couldn't deliver, whereas Ruby's Love did really all the dirty work.
He did the dirty work, but he's going to have to fight again with Honor Commitment. They hooked up prior, Honor Commitment, Ruby's Love, and Honor Commitment got the best of them. I think it happens again today. But I think Saturday Sunshine will benefit off of the return try. A little bit of a break, might have been a little too close to that quick pace and caused that rally to kind of just flatten but Slew's Love had been running, got out to the far outside to surge to get up. I think second time back, Saturday Sunshine can get up in time.
That's where I thought Ruby's Love's performance last time out. I know he was taking a drop in class, but it just kind of, I don't know, he went through a little bit of a lull in his previous 2 races, and then he just pops up with this nice performance last time out, and he was aggressively sent out of the gate by Trevor. I saw it the same way. I thought that it might happen again with Honor Commitment, who I like, but he doesn't have to win.
No.
I mean, obviously he was unfortunate to catch Sir Orinoco last time out on the drop in class, but I think you used him, though, in the pick 4.
Yeah,
right?
I did. I think he just kind of, I think I just went 2-4 in here. I don't know if we went much deeper than that. Yeah, that looks like the race. I mean, unless Honor Commitment kind of something that happens out of the gate and Ruby's Love finds himself clear, I think Honor Commitment just he's the one that survives the duel. If there is a duel, it's going to take place.
Absolutely. Okay, that's races 1 through 4. We will take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the 20-cent Rainbow 6 and Late Pick 5 right after this.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions who make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to support horse racing, to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Gabby Gaudette alongside Keith Fustel, now looking at the 20-cent Rainbow 6. We've got a nice carryover today, just shy of $5,000. Again, 20-cent based wager. I had a hard time finding a single in it, so I'm going to take a stab at the late pick 5 today. But we started off on the Fort Marcy at rail setting at 87 feet, 5.5 furlongs on the turf for this non-winners of 3 lifetime $16,000 event. Start us off, Keith. Where did you go?
This is
a tough
right.
race.
I think Tracy Island is going to end up at about 2-1 in this race, 5-2, 2-1, maybe down to 9-5. Here's my stat here, negative stat. Hugh McMahon, 3 for 38 allowance to claimers over the last 2 years.
That's bad.
1 for 11 on the turf. Her numbers fit. I mean, she looks strong. She had a little bit of trouble and didn't run too bad in that allowance race, right back to the level in which she was claimed. She's going to be tough, but I've got to go to a little better price. I think there's plenty of speed in this race. I think Katie's Horseplay is fresh. I think she's going to come somewhere from mid-pack. Buckleberry, Sarah's Whisper, maybe Romantical. Masio has speed. There's enough gas in this race to kind of set it up for a horse like number 7, Friends, for Mark Ippolito. This horse has ran a couple credible races back in the late summer into the fall at Laurel Park. I think the race flow sets up off a little bit of time, freshening back to the best surface. Look at the two-back trot before the layoff, right behind Take It Inside, who ran well for open 11. I think she's kept the right company lines. This horse is going to make a good run from off the pace.
I saw you pick Friends, and I was curious to see your stance on this particular horse. But you're right. I mean, the trouble with trying to handicap pace at 5.5 furlong sprints, it doesn't always happen, right?
Correct.
You think it's going to be a contended pace, and one horse gets out there and wires the field, and that's the discouraging thing for me. So I just went with a horse that I still liked, and this was the 8 Mazio for Richard Vega. This is a horse who I think has put together decent enough sprint races on the turf to suggest that she's going to be okay here. Now, the pace flow, it does concern me. She does look like a need the lead type, or at least a need to be close type. Even if you look at her races back in 2015, she was very quick when she wired at 6 furlongs here at Laurel too. She hasn't really been in the best of form on the dirt lately, but she's never really been in the best of form on the dirt. So she's getting back to a preferred surface.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And she's going to take them a long, long way. She's going to fight it out. She does have some fighter. And Magic Cookie, I even forgot to put her. So, I mean, she's showing speed on the dirt. Transfers, I have to John Jones, Officer Buns. Both are winners on the grass course. What are they going to do? I think the one Katie's Horseplay should sit a good trip. Should be able to draft up the inside, let that speed go on early, and then find a seam late. Should come running well. Joan will have this horse fresh. This horse might show a little bit more tactical speed since the layoff. I expect a good try coming back to 5.5 on the grass. This horse pairs up nicely with Tracy Island. Those two finished close apart, going a mile.
Yeah, I almost wonder why not try Tracy Island going longer before you drop her in for the $16,000 tag. That was what I was thinking, because she actually ran okay going 2 turns on the turf before, but last time out she never switched to the right lead coming down the stretch. It could have been something to do that she didn't like the yielding turf that day. She might improve, but I just thought that she might be a little bit vulnerable in here, so I went elsewhere. I also used the 5 Sarah's Whisper, just because she's another one that's a speed type, but how many times have we seen Al Cortez just ride these horses out of the gate and actually dictate, and that's exactly how she won the non-winners of 2 lifetime condition at 57-1. So I'm not saying this mare needs to necessarily win. She's had a lot of tries and she hasn't managed to do it quite often, but I also actually kind of liked the 10 Honor and Grace. I didn't use her in the top 4, but when I was trying to look at the pick 6, I thought that maybe she was one you might want to use to make that late run too. So that was a very, very tough race.
You make a good point, too. When you're doing your multi-race gimmicks, maybe more so than just attacking the race single-handedly, if you see some just straight-up speed types, don't feel that you have to think they're going to kill each other. Well, more than likely, if you attack it singly, they might. But in that situation, you'd hate to get beat by the lone speed. So if you can kind of afford to throw a couple of those in, we see it time and time again. Horses breaking a tangle. One horse goes right, might knock out 2 of the speed types. The other horse just goes on with it. And then, boom, you're like, oh, how was that horse left alone on the lead? Well,
anything can happen in a turf sprint, that's for sure. So we get to the 6th race on the card here, Keith. It does kick off the 50-cent late pick 5. We started off on the Kelso going a mile. Industry low takeout in the pick 5, of course, at 12%. So we'll take a look at the pick 5 here. And again, didn't find a single, using 3 by 3 by 3 by 2 by 2 for $54. I'm going to start with the 4, 6, and the 10 here. I could have even used the 1 Just a Scooch, who I picked in 4th here, but you have to make a decision somewhere, and I'm going to give Quick-Witted one more shot. This filly, I believe, was scratched at the gate last time out.
Absolutely. Things get real dicey now. This lineup of races, 6 through 10, they're tough all the way through for the most. I agree with you. Quick-Witted, I'm looking at the rest of the field. I'm just not in love with anybody. We talked about it last time. We know Humoristic. We know her record on the turf. We know what she's produced on the turf. Got the tightener at a mile, or like I say, a scratch last time. Transitioning back, going to get the turf today. You're going to get a square price, I believe, as well. Getting that outside post, I think this horse will settle and make a run.
Of course, Humoristic, a Grade 3 winner going long on the turf. She made over $500,000, so I'm going to stick to her. I'm going to stick to her one more time. Of course, she was scratched last time out. I didn't get nobody got the opportunity to see her run. Now, the 6th Theta Soul was one I was also interested in. This filly is by Perfect Soul. She's out of Theta Smile. The mare, she won it at 1.25 miles on the turf. The sire almost won at 1.25 miles on the turf in the Arlington Million. So I don't think this is an issue. And when you dwelt at the start going 5.5 furlongs when you're a first-time starter, it's never a good thing.
Yeah, made up almost 20 lengths there, you know, from the opening quarter to the wire. So, yeah, absolutely wants to stretch out. Numbers should definitely drastically go up. Has to get out of the gate a little bit better, but, you know, you don't want to leave this horse out. This horse attracted McCarthy first time out. They like this
Exactly.
horse a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, and the 4 Furiosa, I think one you just have to use protectively. in that big five.
Absolutely. You know, last time out, find itself on the lead. I think is better suited from just off the pace.
We'll get to the 7th race. Of course, this does kick off that late pick 4 action. We go a mile and a 16th on the main track for the starter allowance. And once again, we do have that 10% bonus in the late pick 4. That is for premier players. So become a premier player. It's a lot of fun. Go up to guest services and become a member today. That happens Friday through Sunday. In the late pick 4, 10% bonus. And this race I didn't think was any easier, but I do think that you could probably kind of go in between Danny, my boy, maybe Stone Crazy, maybe even North Ocean. Don't you think the road would probably go between one of those 3?
I believe so. Racetrack Romance is a tricky horse to figure. Kind of, it was running in the land of those higher buyer figures, Delaware Monmouth. I don't know what to make. Form maybe tails off just a bit. Does like the distance. Will get a stalking trip. Will he have the finishing punch if he has to move into the likes of North Ocean and maybe Danny, my boy, who makes an earlier move? My giant. I think Danny, my boy. I'm just going to stick with him until proven otherwise. The way he's been running for Annette Eubanks, made a nice run in and got by Conor Maricosa. It was a 2 other than type of horse.
We'll show that replay.
Yeah,
you
let's
can
go
talk
ahead.
Over it.
Let's
It's
go.
just a stretch run, and
All right.
just to show that, I mean, this horse was perched in the quarter pole.
Absolutely. He's been doing this time and time again with Annette Eubanks. Makes his move. He's not really being asked for much. Finds a nice little seam, shifts out to about the 6th path, and says, okay, here we go. I'm just going to grind you down. Run straight as a string and comes get Conor Maricosa kind of look gone. Nick Verdelic rocks a horse been in good form. A little bumping there as Conor Maricosa drifts out, but doesn't phase Danny, my boy, in the least. He keeps on charging home. Goes back to the 2 turns. He can handle the 2 turns as well.
Look at all that he had to overcome. There are horses going every which direction. That was an ugly stretch run, I will say, because Conor Maricosa stopped a little short, didn't go through to the second wire finish. It was a contended pace. It probably set up for him, but at the same time, there were horses weaving in and out and going every which direction. And as you said, he maintained that straight path as professional as ever, and he is probably the horse to beat. But I also think that this is a really good spot for Stone Crazy. This is a horse who has been facing 2 other than allowance optional claiming company at Penn National in the past couple of starts, so they're utilizing this condition. Now, he hasn't won in quite some time. The last time he won was on an off track. He's been known to run very well on an off track, so that's a little bit discouraging. But the 7 North Ocean, another horse you use, he's coming back to Laurel, where he's very strong, and his local record here scares me, especially after the string of races he was managed to put together.
This and his last race really messed with my head when making the line. He's going to be lower probably than that 7 at 2. Wouldn't surprise me. He goes down to favoritism. I got to put a line through the Parks race. Something went amiss, and they decided to still hold him at the starter allowance level. He could possibly be the speed and go ahead and dictate this race a long way from the outside.
He's a very scary horse. I think you want to use him there in the multi-race bets. We'll get to the 8th race. We head out to the Fort Marcy at a mile and a 16th for the starter allowance optional claimer. And I like Seda last time out, despite Dave Ronman telling me otherwise now. But this horse went wire to wire. I'm going to use her in second, but I do think that this is a much tougher field today. The 7 Caps Vow, I kept going back to. I didn't know what to do with her. She's managed to put in some good races, but Veblen Good is one. First off, the claim for Kate Tomasi, who you preferred here.
Yeah, I prefer, but I don't love anybody in this race. I really struggle with this from a handicapping standpoint and a betting standpoint. I would have to go, 4, maybe even 5 deep. What's Paper Moon going to do? A blowout victory over cheap. They got away with stealing one for $10,000. You see the family arts student produced several turf winners. Certainly could stretch out, no problem, to the grass and handle it. Veblen Good has just been consistent enough. The winner last time out, it came back to just missing a 3 in life condition. That's it. Enough said. I'm not Magician's Vanities, 1 for 34. Caps Vow, what do you do? Ran against better in New York. Only 3 races last year. Comes back, draws the outside. This was another one. I probably got lined a little bit too high. This horse, if it doesn't get bet, it's going to worry me.
Yes,
so I kind of set that 9 to 2. So if you see this horse right around 9.256, I'd be a little bit leery.
and tractable in here as well, who's got speed out to the nice post to the outside. Seda, I think, is very fast in here. Magician's Vanity, I gave up on. I signed the paperwork and I said, nope, I'm divorcing you a couple starts back because she just does not have that will to win. So she can beat me out of the pick 5. I'm not using her, but that's a very, very tough race, and that's why our handle's so good, because we have races like that.
And
that
you
are
look
just
up, you're
puzzles.
like, man, obviously the people know it a lot better than me, and they just pound
Exactly.
450,000 into the race. It's good.
All right, we get to the 9th race on the card, heading out to the Kelso, rail setting at 35 feet, a mile, first level allowance, and we have a video spotlight replay of a horse that you like at a pretty nice price.
Yeah, I know we're a little short on time. Let's follow the 2 horse in this race on the video. The 7 horse today, the 2 horse in this video down to the inside in the orange silk. Already steadied once or twice early going into the first turn. Gets a good tracking position to the inside, but it's pretty much stymied, Gabby, here along the rail into the far turn with a host of horses. 5 or 6 horses want to kind of go up and go for the lead. Bay Bridge, this is the Bay Bridge race, a better race. He's kind of late in there setting the pace, gets pressured by a long shot. There's a steady again. Unfortunately, boxed in around past the 5/16 pole is No Bull Addiction. This is a horse. He's found trouble. It might be time and time again he gets this kind of trip, Gabby, but at the price, here he is again trying to make a little run up to the 3/16. Let's watch it. Here we go. I bet he finds trouble. Now horse drifts in, going to have to check. And the jock just kind of protects. That's good enough, guys. The final 1/8 of a mile. No Bull Addiction has run some good enough races over this race course, over this turf course. I know he's only 1 second out of 5 tries, but visually, I keep coming back to him. He looked good. He was fresh. He was ready to go off the layoff. I think there's a couple questionable speed types in here. I think Courtney Songs will be close. Markakis should definitely show more speed. Maybe We Dear You. I think he can get in good position like he did last time. He's just going to need luck on his side. But at the price that he's going to be, you better use him. Don't miss him at 20-1.
Trouble haunts him.
Yes, it does.
I think I don't even know how many times I've picked him, but I do remember picking him one of his seconds a while back, actually last summer here, because it's like, you know what, this horse, he got into real bad trouble last time and he did this, and then sometimes he's always plagued by trouble trips.
Poor guy.
But when luck is finally on his side, he's going to win, and he's going to win at a big price.
Yep.
So I can't knock you for using a little bit of a price there. The 8 Hot and Heavy, I took a little bit of a chance with. He's 6-1 on morning line for Anthony Pecoraro, Trevor McCarthy in the saddle. He's a better horse on a course that he can hear his feet rumbling. So he gets back to a firmer course. He's unfortunately caught yielding good courses in the past, but blinkers on past 2 starts. I just hope he can either sit a stalking trip or go to the lead. I don't think it really matters, but I wasn't crazy about any other horses that would take money like Tusk in here, even Kid Jeter that might take money for Kelly Rubley. So that's who I landed on. But again, another kind of tricky head scratcher of a race.
This is a good race, a really, really good betting race. I think they'll really attack this race at the windows, race number 9.
I agree. We'll get to the 10th and final race, $5,000 claimer for 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since October 30th. 5.5 furlongs onto the main track, and we've got the likes of Hunger in here, who I just can't pick. We haven't seen this horse since 2014. It's not like it was 2015 or 16. We're talking about
I can't remember
a
what I
long
was
time
doing
ago.
back then. No.
I think I was graduating college.
Well, what do you do? 30 cents to the dollar way back when, running second off a claim, but off a long time. But you know what? Kieran can do this. He can scare the daylights out of you. You know, it's all or nothing. You're either going to pick this horse. You got him second. I got to go on top or nowhere to be found. I think this horse will have one race to get it done, can stalk the speed and go on with it.
All right, we'll see. I think
all or nothing.
I think the only other horse, the reason why he's going to be such a heavy favorite, despite the fact we haven't seen him in years, is that this isn't a good race for any other horse. Like Love to Prospect, he's better going longer. I think if this was a 2-turn race or even the 1-turn mile race where he could go to the lead and probably never look back, that'd be one thing. But other than that, the waters are a little bit murky. I mean, Fairy Cat, who's 5-2, who will get bet because there's no other option in here, is 0 for 15 at Laurel.
Yeah. No doubt about it. He seems a little bit better. He runs higher figures of pen. A decent try last time, and that was against a little bit better. Brandon will have this horse ready. He's going to be right in the mix. I think we both land on a horse maybe that's going to be your key, maybe your supers and your tries would be the 5. Here we go, Joe. Just kind of benefit off the race, sit, hope the pace just kind of just melts down and makes a run into it at a square price. He'll be in that 8 or 10 to 1 range.
I could actually see that happening because I could see Hunger. If he's not right, he'll show speed
Small
and then
Giant.
probably fade. Love to Prospect. He usually shows speed and fade at sprint distances because he's better longer. So here comes, here we go, Joe.
Here we go, Joe.
Here we go, Joe. All right. Well, that's a wrap for us here on Today at the Races. 10 races on tap, carryover in the Pick 6, carryover in the Super High 5. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck on today's Sunday program.
Good luck.